are live. What is going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate everyone that's being here. Anybody that's watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Well, this is a very Laker thing to do, right? You know, you're playing a team, 18-game losing streak, and the Lakers give up the win. Look, pretty much everything I talked about in the video that I posted earlier happened, right? It's what I talked about, developing bad habits. Gave a team momentum, a desperate team. You allowed them to believe that they could actually win, and they came out and they picked up right where they left off in the last game, right? It's what I talked about. You know, when you take your foot off the gas and you let a team that is desperate feel like, oh, we can win, and then you have to play them literally 2 days later, this is usually the result. Also, I've talked about, Anthony Davis, right? I've repeatedly hit on, we can weather the storm without LeBron James. We can win games without LeBron. We're 2-0 without LeBron, and we're 0-2 without Anthony Davis. And that's because, yes, there's no replacing LeBron James. You're never going to replace LeBron and what he does. And if LeBron missed extended time, the Lakers might be in a little bit of trouble. But like a game here and there, the Lakers can weather those games and be okay because you can have other guys step up. We have a bunch of sizable wings. We have depth. We have the things that can cover and make up for LeBron James for a game. We don't have anything close to that for Anthony Davis, right? We don't have his post presence. We don't have his dominance. We don't have his scoring output. We don't have his shot blocking. We don't have his defense. We don't have the ground he covers. We don't have the rim protection. And you saw San Antonio was basically getting whatever they wanted at the rim. The Lakers went on that huge run. What was it, like 25-8 or whatever? They went on that insane run because they went away from attacking the paint. That's why I talked about like the Houston game, right? Houston basically just had a layup line to the basket all game long, right? San Antonio, same things, right? It's just you can't replace Anthony Davis. That's why, like, every time I hear somebody say, like, oh, we need to trade Anthony Davis, it's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Like, seriously, because you can't replace Anthony Davis and his impact. Now, you also don't have Anthony Davis, and then you don't have, like, D'Lo and Reddish and everything else. Like, that hurts, right? And this game is another great example of why we need another trade. And it's not even a center because Anthony Davis is going to play, especially come playoff time, he's going to play 36 minutes a game, right? We could use another sizable center. I'm not saying that. So that's why I think like you go get like an Andre Drummond or something like that. Just somebody that you can rely on that's more trustworthy than like a Jackson Hayes. Somebody that has the experience that come playoff time can make the impact. But we need to get another consistent scorer. We need to get somebody that we can rely on. I mean, we went on so many stretches in this game where like we couldn't put the ball in the hoop. We couldn't put the ball in the hoop. And it's because we don't have a consistent scorer. Like Reeves can score, but he has to work for his shot. He can't really shoot over the top. He's got to be crafty, right? Same thing in a lot of ways with D'Lo, right? He's got to kind of be crafty with it. He can't just go get a bucket. That's why somebody like a DeMar DeRozan or a Zach LaVine or whomever would just be so impactful because they can shoot over the top. They can get to their spots. They're crafty, but they're also, experienced in that veteran to where they can go and pick and choose their spots. The Lakers, look, depth is important, but when you're missing your only anchor, it's a big thing, right? Like if everybody played except for Anthony Davis, we still probably lost this game. We probably still would have lost this game, because again, you can't replicate Anthony Davis. Now, that's not saying that the Lakers shouldn't have won or couldn't have won. They could have, but it just you have to play a perfect game when you don't have AD, where you can kind of weather without LeBron. You don't have to necessarily play a perfect game because you have Anthony Davis that just impacts in so many different fronts, so many different ways. And this game also has a lot of implications. So the Lakers, I believe, now dropped to 7th in the standings with the Clippers playing excellent basketball. On top of that, you got what? We got the Knicks coming up at home, and we got the Chicago Bulls on the road. We've been a terrible road team, and the Knicks are no slouches, right? I mean, they're capable of winning that game in LA. So now if you lose that game, I mean, if you don't win the Knicks and the Bulls game, the Lakers might be in trouble because your next games are against the Boston Celtics on Christmas Day. Yes, you're at home, but Boston's the best team in the league, and the Lakers haven't been very good at beating good teams, right? So now you're playing the best team in the league, and then after that you got what, OKC or Minnesota and OKC on the road. Some of that I think you have that before the Boston game. So I think it's like I think it's Minnesota, OKC, and then the Boston game. But both of those games against Minnesota and Boston are on the road. So if you lose one of these games to either the Knicks or the Bulls, we could end up losing 4 out of our next 5, and a stretch where we should have went 4-1, maybe even the hope was going 5-0. But it's just, this is the problem, right? And it was my fear going into this game. It's what I broke down and talked about in the previous video. Literally everything I said in that video happened in this game, like verbatim, perfectly. And when you don't have Anthony Davis, we just don't have anything that can supplement that. You can supplement the loss of LeBron James again for a game or two here and there, right? I think if he misses a long stretch of time, it makes it harder. But again, it's why anytime I see somebody say, "Oh, we should trade Anthony Davis after a bad game," I just want to reach through the screen and just be like, "What are you, like, stop?" Because there's a reason. Again, we're 2-0 without LeBron James, and we're 0-2 without AD, and we've lost both games without AD in pretty dominant fashion. Right? The Houston game, they just ran us out the gym, and then in this game, they just ran us out the gym because we can't defend out on the perimeter properly because we have to protect the paint. And then teams just pack and just drive and kick, and they just collapse us because we don't, like, Anthony Davis lets you get away with so much. Anthony Davis lets you get away with just so many mistakes, so many flaws, right? And you don't have to necessarily help inside because Anthony Davis is there and he's going to cover so much ground. Those are the things that it's rough, right? And again, you had a desperate team that the Lakers let them feel like they could win against in the previous game, right? Because the Lakers were up 18 in that fourth and just got ran through, and they picked up right where they left off. Can't do those things. Can't do those things, right? You gotta, cut the head off of the snake while you have it. And maybe this game would have been a different outcome. But you have all these factors that come in, and you end up with a loss like this. And it's a tough loss. I mean, at least we're not the Phoenix Suns and lost to them twice in like a 2-day span. But still, it's just not a good look. Not a good game. Obviously, the Spurs, they wanted to win this game. They were desperate. They needed it. And, it's one of those things. They got the win. So credit the Spurs. Lakers, I got something in my eye. It's killing me. Credit the Spurs. The Lakers they didn't do what they needed to do. I understand we had 3 starters out and stuff like that, but this is a game that at least should have been more competitive, right? It should have at least been a closer fought game rather than just getting smacked, getting blown out. But anyway, let's dive into the box score, and then after we get into the box score, we'll answer all your super chats and all your questions and stuff like that. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So Taurean Prince, 12 points, 2 of 6 from 3. It's kind of cooled off a little bit, but at least he's consistently hitting threes game in and game out. He had that stretch where he couldn't buy a 3 to save his life. So I'm glad he did that. LeBron, 22 points, 14 rebounds. 14 assists and 7 rebounds. He did what he could, right? What are you going to do? He also had our worst minus of the game, but again, plus minus, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But Austin Reeves, 8-18 from the field, 4-10 from 3. Another guy that I'm glad his 3-point shot is starting to come back around. We need him to consistently shoot in the 40% range. 22 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds for him. Jackson Hayes again, it's what I talked about when we signed him, right? I'm sure a lot of people are going to think like, oh, Jackson Hayes is trash. Jackson Hayes is this. It's why I want a guy like Andre Drummond, right? Because he's inexperienced. He's a project. Sorry, I'm still a little sick, so my throat keeps getting groggy. But he's a project, right? He's supposed to be our third center. He's not supposed to be our starting backup center, right? He's a guy that we're hoping to grow and develop, and he understands the discipline and understanding. He didn't have like an atrocious game, but like he just doesn't have the discipline and the understanding on the defensive end to really kind of control things. The hope is that he gets that over time. That's why I want, like, if we do a Bulls trade or something like that, I want somebody like an Andre Drummond, or if we can go get a Valanciunas, or if we can get somebody that has the understanding, that is a veteran, that understands timing and understands just pace and things like that, rather than just a kid who's out there just to be an energy guy. Like Jackson Hayes is supposed to be a guy you put out there for 8 to 10 minutes, high energy, is a lob threat, maybe he grabs a couple boards, and maybe he blocks a shot here and there. That's what you want from him. Max Christie was terrible in this game, like terrible. I don't know. I mean, he was missing assignments. Like one of the things is his offense has been very inconsistent, which is fine. He's young, trying to get his feet under him. But like the one thing he's been able to hang on to is his defense. He was terrible in this game. Like he was really bad in this game. So I was a little disappointed there. Rui had a great game. He was 0 of 5 from 3. I know the shooting's there, but he's not this like, it's not his game. His game isn't supposed to be a spot up 3-point shooter. I say that constantly. He's a guy that you need to put in position. And this, I thought, was a perfect game to do that. Like, I'm sure people are going to blame Darvin Ham for everything in this game. I haven't even read the chat yet, and I'm sure a large majority are going to blame Darvin Ham for this game. But the one thing that I do blame Darvin Ham on is just the lack of play calling for Rui Hachimura. You have a guy that was a mismatch all over the court. Run some sets for Rui. Allow him to get in position and make plays. Right? Like that's my issue. Is like with him and even Christian Wood. Like you have Christian Wood and Rui Hachimura basically being perimeter guys. They're not perimeter guys. Can they hit the occasional three? Sure. Right? On occasion, they can knock down the open 3-point shot. But that's not what their bread and butter is. Like, you have a guy in Christian Wood who can score around the rim, who can knock down the mid-range, right? Is versatile in his offensive attack. You have a guy in Rui, same thing. You can put him in the post, get him on the block, let him use his physicality. He was bullying these guys, right? Let him not hit some mid-range shots, things like that. It's like, use their strengths rather than just having them out on the perimeter just jacking up threes. It's one of those things. Like he's got to do a better job of getting these guys, like maximizing the strengths of the players. That's something that he hasn't done a good job on, right? You got to maximize the strength of these players. But anyway, like I said, Rui, he had a solid game. 8 of 15 from the field, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 20 points. I know people are going to highlight the 0 for 5, but again, he's not a 3-point shooter. He's starting to develop a 3-point shot, but he's never been known to be a 3-point guy. That's not his game. He's starting to develop it. Christian Wood, 17 points. He was 6-10 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 40%, which is good. Free throws were atrocious for this guy. I don't know what was up with this free throw shooting in this game. 8 rebounds and 3 assists. He had 1 steal and 2 blocks. He was solid for what we needed him to do, stepping in, especially for a guy that went from like not playing at all to like now you got heavy minutes. I'm not going to really get in on him too much, but in general, he's got to, like I said, got to do a better job. And there's just no replicating Anthony Davis. I've talked about it. No replicating Anthony Davis. But diving into the chat, let's get into Andrew. Thank you so much for $2 super chat. DeMar, Drummond, and Caruso or Finney-Smith all in. I'm with you. We've talked about it, Andrew. First off, thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. I am a little concerned, and I'm probably going to touch on it tomorrow in a video. DeMar DeRozan keeps saying he wants to stay with the Bulls, and the Bulls have said that they want to keep DeMar DeRozan. So the Bulls' plan right now is to trade Zach LaVine ASAP so they can look at this roster and see if it's worth keeping DeMar. So I have a little concerns there. But, I mean, also how much of that is just, like the organization and DeMar DeRozan showing face? How much of that is just them both kind of like, hey, like what are they supposed to say? DeMar DeRozan's supposed to be like, get me out of here. This team's trash. I want gone. No, he's a professional. He's not going to do that, right? He's going to say all the right things. The organization, like, what are they supposed to say? Like, this team's trash. We're trading everybody. No, like, then you lose all your leverage and conversation stuff. You got to do the right things, So, but I do have a little concern that this is now like the second or third time that DeMar DeRozan has like expressed like that he wants to stay with the Bulls. He wants to re-sign. He doesn't want to be traded. So, just something worth mentioning. Andrew coming out with another $2 super chat. It's going to be DeMar. I'll take LaVine though too. Like I still have hope for DeMar. I personally still want DeMar DeRozan also. I really do lean towards DeMar as well. I mean, again, Andrew, we've talked about this. But it's I don't know. I kind of have this feeling like it's going to be Zach LaVine. I kind of have a feeling that Lakers are just going to wait to see how Zach LaVine looks. Like LaVine will come back for a couple games. They'll see how he looks. And if he looks good, then they'll pull the trigger for him. But I think you got to get more than just Zach LaVine. You got to get Devine. You got to get, because I say Drummond. You got to get LaVine and Drummond at least. Bare minimum, you got to get LaVine and Drummond. If you can get Alex Caruso, great. If you can't get Caruso, I would really look to pivot to try to get Dorian Finney-Smith. If we can get LaVine or DeMar, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Andre Drummond, I think that's a just grand slam. I think Lakers will be really good and in really good shape at that point. But Andrew, thank you so much again. I really do appreciate that. All right, let's get into the other chat stuff. And also, again, real quick, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get through all of this. So I think one time it was 6-point game. As it stands, I thought maybe we'd pull off the comeback. Yeah, I mean, when they started coming back, I mentioned it earlier. A lot of that was just the Spurs went away from what was working and just started jacking up threes rather than like realizing like, oh, they don't have any rim protection, so attack and be aggressive. And as soon as San Antonio corrected that, boom, they were off to the races again. That opened up the three-point shooting, so all of a sudden they start knocking down more threes, and you dig yourself back into a bigger hole. So, but why did Reddish and D'Lo not play? D'Lo was something like, I think like a migraine or headache or something like that. Reddish, I'm not really sure, to be honest, exactly why. I mean, they have the injury report, but a lot of it could have just been rest. A lot of these guys are coming back from injuries. This is a game where I felt like if you were going to rest AD, you might as well have just sat LeBron too. Like, I really think you should have just sat both of them and just kind of force everyone else to play and step up, because I think the result would have been the same regardless. It is definitely embarrassing, definitely. I have officially become a Spurs fan. Spurs fan, LeBronto. What's going on, LeBronto? Cam is key. No D'Lo and AD. This is a trap game. It shows how valuable they are. Yeah, agreed. Especially AD. Like I said, we can't replicate and replace Anthony Davis. We just don't have anybody that can do that. Let's see if people will blame D'Lo now. Exactly. Which is one of my concerns. Why, if we ended up losing D'Lo via trade, so here's my hope. And like, I plan on putting these all in video form, but all you guys get an early sneak peek because you guys are in the live stream. So here's like my perfect breakdown of like what I think is realistic and available. We do the Bulls trade. We go get DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine, whichever one, Andre Drummond, and then either Alex Caruso or Dorian Finney-Smith. I'm not going to lie, I kind of lean towards Dorian Finney-Smith just because I think he'll be cheaper. And I also think just his size, he's bigger. So I just think it kind of fits in with what the Lakers need. But I wouldn't hate Alex Caruso. So basically you get one of Alex Caruso or Dorian Finney-Smith, Andre Drummond, and then one of DeMar or LaVine. Boom, you got that. Then I want to see the Lakers go and hopefully, this is my hope, because you're going to end up trading D'Lo in that package. We're going to need a point guard. Austin Reeves has not been able to play make the way that we need him to. He can find the open man. He can find the occasional cutter, but he's not good at orchestrating the offense and running the offense. This was a great example of the game, right? Again, he can get high assists when he's finding the open man, just driving and kicking. That's not the same thing as actually playmaking, right? And so same thing with Gabe Vincent. Let's say we keep Gabe Vincent. I think he may end up getting traded also, but if we end up keeping Gabe Vincent, my concern is that, like, even if we do keep Gabe Vincent, he's still not a great playmaker. He's not a guy that can set guys up. He can find the open man, all that stuff. But he's more of like a, George Hill, Avery Bradley type guy. So my hope is the Warriors buy out Chris Paul because they're a sinking ship. And I'm hoping Chris Paul just says, hey, I want to go to a contender, and they buy him out. And he goes to the Lakers after they trade D'Angelo Russell. I also think that Chris Paul, if he sees D'Angelo Russell get traded, he might say, okay, buy me out. Because then he can go to the Lakers and he'll get minutes. I don't want him starting, right? Like, I want him, now that he's accepted a bench role with Golden State, I want him to do the same thing for the Lakers. But if he can come off the bench for the Lakers and play, like, so LeBron starts at point guard. So, like, let's just say we just do the Bulls thing. Let's simplify it. So say we just get the Bulls deal. Let's say we do get Levine. Let's say we get Levine, Caruso, and Andre Drummond. All right, boom. There you go. My hope is you go get Chris Paul. We'd have like $3 million, $3.5 million, whatever to spend. You go get Chris Paul on a vet minimum. You have now plethora of things. My starters would be Levine, maybe Caruso for defense purposes, or you go Cam Reddish or whatever. Maybe you stick with the cohesiveness. So go Levine, Reddish, Vanderbilt, LeBron, and AD. And then you have Chris Paul. So basically, whenever LeBron's off the court, you're putting in Chris Paul, right? So LeBron gets his rest. Chris Paul's playing in that spot. You keep his minutes low. You manage him so he can stay healthy. So when we get to the playoffs, you always have that just real, true playmaker that can get everyone involved. Because my concern is you trade D'Lo, you're not going to have a playmaker. It's a real concern for me. So anyway, we'll see. A lot of time between now and the trade deadline and the buyout market and all that stuff. So this Lakers team is tripping. Yeah, it's not a fun experience. Yes. This was sickening. I am with you. I think we also get the next 3 days off. Yeah, which is going to be needed. What's going on, Daniel? Appreciate you being here. But D'Lo is the problem. Exactly. Like, bad loss, embarrassing, no heart. Yep. I don't know how to feel. I mean, like I said, everything that happened in this game, I made a video earlier talking about it. Like, literally everything. We were missing 3 starters. Yeah. But I still think if everyone played but AD, we would have had the same result. Like, if only AD rested, I still think we would have lost. Lakers are so up and down. Hard to watch. Hayes on the defensive end. Davis should teach him how to defend. He's only talent is jumping. Yeah, but again, that was the idea. That's why there's a reason the Pelicans let a 23-year-old center go that is a hyper athlete, right? They let him go because he doesn't have the discipline. He doesn't have the understanding of the game. He's a project. I talked about it heavily when we signed him. When we signed him, I made like several videos about Jackson Hayes. And I talked about how he'll impact the Lakers and how he won't. And one of my big points of emphasis was he's not disciplined. He doesn't have an understanding of timing and how to play defense without fouling and how to position himself properly, stuff like that. So he's a guy that you throw out there for like 10 minutes a game here and there. You give him some lobs. He applies rim pressure. He gets some energy. Hopefully grabs you a couple boards, grabs you a couple points, maybe get you an offensive rebound or two, and you pull him out the game. I don't think Christian Wood was pure garbage. I actually like it. For a guy that just went from like not playing at all to like, here you go, now you got to play heavy minutes and putting that out. Again, Darvin Ham doesn't put Christian Wood in a position to be successful, right? Like he becomes relegated to being a spot-up three-point shooter. He can hit the occasional three, but that's not his game. He's not He's not a like a Cam Reddish or anything like that. Put him on the block. That's where he has a mismatch. That's where you utilize him. He's gifted around the rim. I mean, he made several shots through Victor, over Victor, all that stuff, because he's able to get there. Like, just putting him in the corner or putting him out on the top of the key and just running, driving kicks with Christian Wood, and now he's taking 5 threes a game. Like, that's not his game. It's not his game. And then on top of that, you add in, like, he hasn't played. Like, he completely fell out of the rotation, right? It's like, for him to step up and at least give us 17 and be somewhat stable, like, again, everything he's doing is like, it's not what he's supposed to be doing. Like, it's not the position he's in. Let's see. Without AD, this team is not even going to the playoffs. Yeah, because again, we don't have anything that can replicate AD. We can weather without LeBron. We can. That's why we're 2-0 without LeBron. We're 0-2 without Anthony Davis, because we don't have anybody that can apply the rim pressure. We don't have anybody that makes up so much ground for if we miss a defensive assignment or anything like that. Like, Anthony Davis's impact is just, it's more important. It's more significant. People will say D'Lo is the problem. Yeah. Look, let's not act like we weren't shorthanded. D'Lo Reddish spawned in the injury report out of nowhere, but when our depth is so great, I believe we should have won this game, even if we were shorthanded. I mean, this is a game that we should have won, but like I said, when you give a team that is desperate life, this happens. It's how it goes. We don't defend without AD. We do. It's just Anthony Davis makes up so much ground and covers so many of our flaws, right? Like, great example, like Max Christie several times just missed his assignment, and it was just a free shot to the rim. When that happens, they still have to go through Anthony Davis and him recovering. And then what that does is that buys time for everyone else to get back into position, right? So Anthony Davis can rotate over, and then boom, the next guy comes over to box out and or that's at least the idea. They don't always do that. But that player, when they blow by an Austin Reeves or they blow by a Max Christie or whatever, and they miss an assignment or whatever, or they gamble for a steal and they don't get it, that player still has that wall that is Anthony Davis. When Anthony Davis isn't there, one, Jackson Hayes doesn't have the IQ and the awareness to rotate to defend that. And even if he does, he doesn't have the discipline to not foul in that spot. And Christian Wood doesn't have the foot speed to make up that ground. Anthony Davis can still defend his man, be the help defender, be the deterrent, and still switch back over if need be. Because he has the foot speed, he has the understanding, he has the situational awareness, he has the impact. It's not that we don't defend. It's just that when we don't have Anthony Davis, we can't defend the perimeter as hard because the paint is just basically wide open. So we have to kind of, when guys drive, we have to collapse as a team, which opens up the shooters. And San Antonio was hitting their shots, right? Well, when you have Anthony Davis, you don't have to close as hard because you know AD's there. So now you don't have to have 3 or 4 guys close to the driver, right? To the guy that's driving in the lane. You only need one guy to close. And then that guy whose job it was that just got blown by, he can now go run across and cut off the corner man or whoever's out on the perimeter, whoever that guy that collapsed the defensive assignment was. And now you're good. So you see the Lakers, when you're watching their defensive actions, they won't collapse heavily. They'll have the driver. Everyone else will stay honest. You have one guy collapse to try to cut off and funnel him to AD. AD will come over as a help defender. You'll see the rotation. You'll see the guy who got beat. Let's call it Max Christie. Max Christie will run over to whoever that guy, let's say it's Taurean Prince that collapsed. Let's say Taurean Prince collapsed. You'll see Max Christie go run over to Taurean Prince's assignment, and now he has the cutoff. And then you see guys get stuck. They end up kicking it out, and it's a turnover, or they got to take a tough shot, or they got to pass it up to AD's man, but AD's still right there. He's just the deterrent. So now he just turns, and he's right there to defend defend his assignment. when you don't have Anthony Davis, you can't run defensive sets that way. So now what happens is you have Taurean Prince, LeBron James, and maybe, let's say, Austin Reeves all have to collapse to build a wall, which means now you have the cutter, which now you have the kick out, and then that guy got it. He's either got an open look or he has a closer, and then it's just another pass and boom, you got a wide open shot. That's the difference when you don't have AD. It's not that we don't defend without AD. It's just that AD covers and makes up so much ground and makes up for so many of the Lakers' mistakes that we just don't have anybody that can replicate that. That's why it's so much more impactful. Not mentioning his rebounding and everything else. So, I don't. You know what's funny is the Pacers and the Lakers since the in-season tournament have not looked very good, right? I don't think Pacers have won a game, right? And then the Lakers are like what, 2-1. So that's interesting. Interesting how that works out. Is the in-season tournament hangover a real thing? You see that with teams that like go to the finals, right? They'll come out and they're like terrible for like a stretch. Wouldn't be thinking any of the shit. Any contender with their best player missing would blow. Any contender with their best player missing would blow this team out. Not necessarily. You're also missing out that we're missing several guys, and literally no other team has somebody as impact other than maybe like Luka with the Mavs, just because he's so high usage. But even then, I'd argue Anthony Davis impacts the Lakers more than any player on any team. Because again, he is literally our entire defense. We go from like bottom defense to like middle of the pack with just Anthony Davis. It's not counting any other players, just Anthony Davis. We go from bottom feeders defensively to literally middle of the pack. I mean, that's like, he has like an all-time high, like historic defensive rate. Like his type, the way that he impacts the game for the Lakers. And we don't have anybody to supplement that. Again, when the Lakers miss LeBron, we're 2-0, right? Because you can make up what LeBron provides. Not over a long stretch. You're never going to replace LeBron. LeBron's impact is so impactful. But a game or two here and there, you can replicate what LeBron provides. You can have Austin Reeves go from, 14 points to 22 points. And Rui go from like 7 points to 15 points. And then, Christian Wood goes and gives you 17, right? You already got a LeBron scoring output, maybe even more. And then, Wood and Rui play more. So then they, say Wood gets you 7 rebounds and Rui gets you 7 rebounds. There's LeBron's rebounding percentage, right? The defense. Like LeBron doesn't always play a lockdown defense, right? At times we're better defensively with LeBron off the court, right? It's just the offense gets stagnant. So again, you can replicate LeBron James. LeBron James can miss a game or two here and there. We can't replicate Anthony Davis, right? Jason Tatum misses a game for Boston. They can replicate what Jason Tatum provides. If they lose Kyrie, right? Dallas can replicate what they provide. Right? If, look at Denver. Denver's been without Jamal Murray. They can replicate what Jamal Murray does, right? For stretches of games. They're not going to win every game or as many games as they will without him. And it's not like they don't need him, but they can replicate it, right? Like pick a team. You take off their best player for a game or two, guys can step up because they don't have somebody as Anthony Davis that just impacts in so many fronts. So many fronts. That's the difference. That's the difference. Dustin, coming here off the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. We need another big man. Hayes ain't it. And Max Christie is not an NBA player. He needs to be in the G League. So we definitely need another big man. My guess is the Lakers trade for one either in like the Chicago deal or they wait for the buyout market and then they sign somebody via buyout. I still lean heavily towards Andre Drummond because he's going to be available and he's dirt cheap. So you could just trade for Andre Drummond straight up. You could do like Jackson Hayes in a second and just get Andre Drummond. So I'm not worried about the big man position. I think we will get a big man. And come playoff time, Anthony Davis is going to play 36 minutes anyway. So you don't need a big man that's going to come in and play 20 minutes a game. You don't like people. I've seen people be like, oh, we need Vu or whatever. It doesn't really make sense to get Vu because LeBron can't play the 3 anymore. So you need him at the 4. And then Vu's, I mean, you're going to have Anthony Davis play 30 minutes plus a game at the center position. And then come playoff time, like I said, he's going to play 34 to 36 in the playoffs. So there's no real point to go get another like star big man. But you need somebody like an Andre Drummond who can come in for 10 to 15 minutes a game and provide some stability, rebound the basketball, block some shots, do the hustle plays. He's a veteran. He has good understanding. He played well alongside Anthony Davis last time. I think somebody like that would be perfect. So that's kind of my guess. I really lean heavily towards something like that, or some young, maybe some, or not young, but like middle guy that's cheap. I could see the Lakers maybe making a deal like that. Kelly Olynyk is another one. Kelly Olynyk is rumored to be on the trade, or not rumored, but it was reported he's on the trade block. Somebody like Kelly Olynyk, I think, would help too. So that's somebody else to look out for. But as far as like Max Christie goes, I think he's a 20-year-old NBA player. Like he's a guy that like it's year 2. He's age 20. He's had some great games. I mean, he's had some very good games this year for the Lakers. And then he's had games like this where he was unplayable. I mean, that happens a lot. I mean, even Victor. Victor's 19, and he's had some like fantastic games where he looks like the second coming of, the greatest ever, right? And then he has games where he's just like pedestrian or he's bad. Like he's had games where he was bad. I mean, even this game, he wasn't that good. And he didn't even have Anthony Davis there. So I just think he's a young kid that's still learning, still developing. I'd rather him get the minutes and have a bad game than not, right? Because, I mean, it's good for his development. It's good for his experience. Like, developing in the G League is fine and all, but you can't replicate NBA basketball. There's a big difference between the G League and the NBA, right? This is a game we were probably – as soon as AD set, I figured we were going to lose this game. So you might as well let him get out there and just get through his hiccups and, have his bad game or whatnot. But I do think he's an NBA player. He's had some great games for us. He's hit some big shots this year for us. He's played some excellent defense. When Cam Reddish was out and he was playing some really good defense. It's just his offense isn't consistent, which happens a lot with these young guys. A lot of these young guys don't have that consistency. And some people look and go, well, look at what Reeves did in year 2. Yes, but one, he had a lot more experience the previous year in NBA games. And 2, Reeves was like 24, right? So it's like just the age gap. He's had 4 more years of just development in like college and stuff like that. Just better understanding. He's grown into his body more than Max Christie has, stuff like that. So it's different, right? And the role that Austin Reeves played compared to what they're asking Max Christie to play is just different. So I don't really I'm not going to get too down on Max Christie. 20-year-old kid. He's playing like a 20-year-old kid. Guys have good games. Guys have bad games. I mean, Kobe at 20, it was not the superstar Kobe that we know and love, right? Like, things take time. You got to get the experience. You got to get your feet wet. But anyway, thank you so much for Super Chat. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, I agree. We definitely need another center. And we need another scorer, honestly. Let's see. Where were we in the chat? Here we go. Depth is only on paper. Once they get on the floor, they start missing shots. Yeah, and it's why I've talked about, like, people scream for depth, right? And look, I'm somebody that you need depth to an extent. You don't need 15 guys deep, right? Problem is that guys aren't getting the minutes, and it was something we talked about when the season started and even before the season started, right? How do you find minutes for all these guys to where they can stay in rhythm or where they can stay comfy? Like I said, you have a guy like Christian Wood who doesn't play for like 4 games, and then he's got to come in and play 30 minutes. And everyone expects him to be, a 17-8 Christian Wood. He was, right? So it's like, credit him for that. But I just think, like, we need to consolidate this depth to get talent. Like, talent trumps everything. Like Boston isn't super deep. They're just ridiculously talented. Denver last year wasn't super deep. I mean, they had a rookie who was playing like 30 minutes in the playoffs, right? They weren't super deep. They just were extremely talented. Talent trumps everything. If the talent fits, right? Like I see people that are like, oh, well, Zach LaVine would just be a Russell Westbrook situation all over again. It wouldn't even be close to that. Because one, we actually have the salaries to make sense where we only have to give up like 3 guys to go get LaVine. LaVine will make a bigger impact than most likely those 3 guys. That also elevates other guys, moves everyone to their more natural positions. Reeves now gets to be the 6th man rather than having to be like the 3rd man on a regular basis. So his impact becomes more. Also, a guy like LaVine can shoot better than Russell Westbrook did. He fits better as an off-ball slasher or rim pressure. He can shoot the 3. Like you're comparing apples to cars. Like it's not even in the same stratosphere. We had to trade all of our depth to go get Russell Westbrook because we didn't have guys making 18 to 20 million in salary and 12 million here and another 15, 16 million here. We had to trade like 5 guys because they all just made like 10 million. So we had to like match it. And it was like a 5-for-1 swap, where this would be like a 3-for-2 swap, or like, you unload some of the young guys and it's like a 5-for-3 swap, but you still maintain depth. All these guys you'd have bird rights on, so you sign them long term. You still have guys under contract for multiple years. It's a completely different situation. We need the talent. We have great role guys, but everyone's having to play next level because of all the injuries. And then when Anthony Davis is out, right? Like everybody has to, like we went on that run when everyone's healthy because everyone kind of slots back into their normal position, right? So now Taurean Prince isn't guarding the best player. He's guarding like the 3rd best player. Now Reeves isn't guarding the 2nd best player. He's guarding like the 5th best player. Reeves doesn't have to be the 3rd best guy and have to work on the defensive end also on top of scoring, 40 points or whatever. Like it's just, you get a guy like LaVine, and I'm just using LaVine as an example. It could be DeMar DeRozan, it could be whoever, right? But you get a guy like that, now he gets to just focus and be the primary scorer. He gets to do what he does best. You have Cam Reddish and Jared Vanderbilt, who are that. Now Reeves, when he goes and gives you 15 or 20, it's much more impactful because LaVine's probably giving you 20. And if Austin Reeves has an off night and he's not great, it's not as negatively impactful because you have a guy in a Zach LaVine who's still giving you 20 to 25. And then LaVine has those nights where he goes off for 50, and it's like, okay, like it's just everything falls back in a line is the difference. So this team ain't serious. I don't know about that. It's just, again, you're missing guys. You're missing Anthony Davis, and you just can't replicate it. And the fact that we lost to the kind of Spurs team, but again, we don't have AD. If we have him, we win this Valley 40. Yeah, if we had Anthony Davis, I don't have a doubt in my mind we win this game. I don't. But again, we can't replicate AD is the problem. Austin Reeves doesn't look for his teammates. He is looking to score. Again, tunnel vision. I've talked about this heavily. He doesn't have the vision, and he's not a great playmaker is the problem. We also didn't play D'Lo and Reddish, so of course we are going to lose without AD. Yeah, that doesn't help either. This depth shows we need LaVine over depth. Yeah. We just a consistent scorer, period. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Mike. We really got to work on our free throws as well. Yeah, seriously. It's terrible. No more excuses. Consolidate the depth and trade for a star. Yeah, don't expect any trade till at earliest is January 15th. But more likely than not, it's not going to be till like probably within like 5 days after that at the earliest, 3 to 5 days after that. LeBron might be the best player, but AD is the most important player. Exactly. Great way to put it. Perfectly. Beautifully put, Pete. Beautifully put. Exactly. LeBron is the best player, but AD is the most important player. Lakers need to be ashamed. Lakers conceded this game to load manage. Yeah. Hang tight for 1 second. Give me 1 second. My baby's crying. I want to find out what's going on. Sorry about that. Thank you, everyone. Sorry. My girls are like potty trained now, but like I guess the toilet paper wasn't close enough, so she was like freaking out. um, let's see, where were we? Lakers have no chance to win without D'Lo. I don't like if we had AD, I think we win this game. Like I genuinely do. I think if we didn't have D'Lo, we had AD, we win this game. I think if we had D'Lo and we didn't have AD, I still think we might have lost this game. Definitely need a trade ASAP, yes. Lakers are first round exit at best. I disagree. I still think the Lakers, even with all their flaws, could still get to the finals, still could win the championship. You have a healthy LeBron and AD, I'll take my chances. Because it's not just one game. It's a 7-game series against a healthy LeBron and a healthy AD. So I would take my chances. Should have rested James as well. I kind of felt like that. If AD's sitting, you might as well just rest LeBron. No defense playing. Again, when you don't have Anthony Davis, it's hard. This game shows that we need Andre Drummond. Yep. Anthony Davis needed to have his ass out. They're unacceptable. Got to rest him. You don't want to get it hurt. Like, look, I know it's frustrating to lose to the Spurs, but we've had so many back-to-back games. Anthony Davis has played in all of them. Like, would you rather him play and get hurt, and then now he misses the next 10 games, or would we rather him get 4 days rest or whatever it is, 5 days rest, and he's good for another 20 games, and then you rest him again, and he's healthy for the playoffs? Like, our goal this year isn't to beat the San Antonio Spurs 4 times. Our goal is to be healthy come playoff time and go win the NBA championship, right? It's like, it's not a big deal, right? If the Lakers won today, would you be saying Anthony Davis needed to have his behind back out there? No, you'd be like, oh, the Lakers won. But because they lost, it's like, well, AD needs to be out there. It's like, no, like the Lakers should have won without him. You figure it out. I don't understand this team, bro. Again, when you don't have Anthony Davis, I think people don't understand how much of an impact Anthony Davis has to this roster. Like it's ridiculous. It's why I say time and time again, we go as far as Anthony Davis takes us. I know people get upset with him on the offensive end. I'll take that because his impact is just unmeasurable. The things that he does for this team, besides scoring 30, right? Like he could score 0 every game for the rest of the way, and we'd still win a lot more games than we would lose just because of his impact on the basketball court. If Jackson Hayes wasn't 7 feet, he'd be working at Cash Register Wednesdays. Yeah, you'd pretty spot on. Pure garbage. Wood and Hayes. Nah, we need a center that can rebound and defend. Not Andre Drummond ASAP. Yeah, we need to get Andre Drummond. I agree. Levine, very likely. He's very likely. Braun was enraged this entire game. Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, all the missed assignments, all just like the not covering for guys, like it was a mess of a game for sure. Should be drinking water because my throat's all groggy. We have deeper issues. Yep. Embarrassing, great way to put it. Absolutely agree. Every year, Lakers are an injury-prone team. All those guys set out to load manage. Yeah, I mean, but again, that's the goal, is to go win a championship. But I'm still going to give this team some time yet. Yeah, we need another big and another scorer. I am right there with you, Mike. Right there with you. Should have gotten Bismack. Bismack's undersized. Like he provides some rim pressure, but there's a reason he's been a journeyman his whole career and went that long without the only reason he has a team right now is because the Grizzlies went without Steven Adams. And even then, he still barely plays. Trade everyone that doesn't have double-digit points. I'm tired of excuses. Beat teams you're supposed to beat. This team is not serious and don't care about winning. We need a center and a scorer. Trade Hayes, D'Lo, Wood. Man, missed 7 straight free throws. Yeah. I mean, again, I think people are undervaluing what Anthony Davis brings to this team. And now we're the 7th seed, and the Clippers get the 6th seed. Yet that's tough. What a shame, yeah. Wemby only had 13 points. Yikes. Yeah, which is what I've talked. Which was part of my answer the super chat earlier. Would Rui Filler for Royce O'Neal, Dorian Finney-Smith make us better? You'd have starting five of D'Lo, Finney, O'Neal, Brown, 80. Knockdown shooters, incomplete defense. Not sure how bad O'Neal is defensively, though. Would it make us better? Yes, because I think that they would be better fits right now than Rui is. I think that they would see the court more than Rui would. So, yes, I do think that they would be better. Dorian Finney-Smith, I would take Dorian Finney-Smith immediately. Royce O'Neal, I wouldn't hate it. I mean, he is a 3-and-D guy. He's not Dorian Finney-Smith, but I do think, like, he would – we'd be better. Point is, like if the Lakers did that, I wouldn't be upset at all. But I think we need a more impact guy. And hey, every year these kind of games, it's frustrating when it happens to us. But I assure everyone here, there will be points in this year where everything will be fine. Yeah, I mean, every team lose. I mean, look, the Suns lost to this team twice. Like 2 of their 4 wins are against the Suns, right? So, excuse me, like stuff happens, right? It's frustrating when it's your team, right? When it's the Lakers, it's like, come on, man, like a back-to-back after the next game. Yep. The Bulls looks decent without Levine. Yeah, because there's not like that a lot. It's not as ISO heavy. It's not so much you go, I go. Go for DeRozan and Vu. Like, my problem with getting Vu is just like I said, I mean, I don't know how do you play him heavy minutes? Because again, like LeBron, can LeBron play the 3? Sure, you can spot him at 3. But like, do you really want LeBron chasing around 25-year-old twitchy athletic perimeter guys? Like, he can do it in spots, but to have to do that for like 36 minutes a game or whatever, 34 minutes a game, you're gonna run this dude into the ground. The reason he plays power forward is because he doesn't have to. Most power forwards can't shoot, so he just gets to basically play free safety and just be scout and then like contest shots. And I mean, how many times does he not even go and contest the corner man? Like, how many times does he just sit there? He can't do that if he plays small forward. He literally would have to lock down every possession, and you're gonna run him to the ground. Like, that's the problem. And so, like, okay, and then you move. Let's say you start LeBron at 3, you play him 5 minutes, and then you move him to the 4. Like now, where does Vu slot? Like, that's my problem with getting a guy like Vu. I don't think you need I would love Vu. Don't get me wrong, he'd be great. He'd solve our rebounding defense. He's not like great defense. He's not terrible. Like, people act like Vu is just this awful defender. He's not. He's actually pretty good. He just doesn't have any help on the defensive side. And he's not like Anthony Davis or like Giannis or anything like that. But like alongside Anthony Davis, I think he'd be great. Problem is, again, LeBron at the 3 is a problem. You still want to trade AD? I went on my rant earlier about this. Like, every time somebody says I want to trade Anthony Davis, I just want to it's this most casual thing you could possibly say. No offensive flow. D'Lo kept flowing, and Pocket Pass is no great on defense. Vando playing like he's going to be traded. Shaking my head. I mean, you got to remember, Vando just got back. Give him some time. I literally made 3 videos about Vando playing this way when he came back. Because again, as great as he is defensively, you still need to get your timing down. You still need to get your pace down. There's so many things that go into an NBA game that's why most guys don't just come back, or come back great. Also, man, that Chicago plus Minnie back-to-back is very scary. Agreed. Minnesota is definitely a schedule loss in Minnesota as well. Yeah, that's my concern too. How Reddish D'Lo missed this game. NBA needs to do something about trash as load management. You're never going to be able to stop it. You're just not, because you'd have to be able to prove that they're not really hurt or whatever. Like, and then if they end up getting hurt, then it's like, what? Then the team's screwed, because it's just, you're never going to be able to solve that. One team hungrier tonight. Yep. We should have never let them sit on an away game against Spurs, team that we gave confidence. Yeah, but the problem is, like, who are you supposed to sit them against, right? Like, you could, like, you're supposed to wait till you have like a Spurs game at home or something. Like, take the L. It sucks. We're barely over 500. I mean, that's like 25, 26 games in. I mean, that's every team in the league outside of 2. 5-9 on the road. Yeah, we're terrible on the road. Terrible. This was a bad loss. Yes, I agree with it. So really just try to win against the Knicks and Chicago because Minnesota and at OKC. Ouch. Yeah, that's tough. That's my problem. That was what I was talking about earlier. You lose one of those games against the Knicks or Chicago. I mean, the Lakers could lose 5 out of the last 6. Let's see. Vandal literally can't score. It's ridiculous. Vandal doesn't look interested. Again, he just came back. He'll be okay. He is terrible, but that's why he's not in there for defense purposes. Dollar. How do you stop or defend 3-pointers? Because Lakers have no clue. These guys, second unit, need to step up. They should have beat this team without LeBron or AD. I mean, we are one of the best defensive teams against the perimeter. I know it doesn't feel like that at times, but again, when you don't have Anthony Davis, I talked about it earlier. When you don't have Anthony Davis, you can't hit the 3-point shot as hard as you can, or as hard as you can when AD is not in it, right? Because you're more worried about the paint. You're more worried about guys getting free layups than you are, guys knocking down threes. You have to give up something, and you'd rather have the hope that they shoot, 30% from 3 than 70% from 2. We can't keep blaming Ham or players, just inconsistency. He can't keep blaming Ham or players, just inconsistent. Only one player with any consistency is LeBron and Reeves. I'm assuming we can't keep blaming Ham or players, just inconsistent. Yeah, I mean, look, like I've talked about it. Like Ham hasn't been great, but he's not the sole problem, right? People like to just blame the coach. But again, like, at what point do the players need to take accountability? At what point do we have to point at the players not showing up? Like, give me, I've said it before, give me prime Phil Jackson. Let's rewind the clock, call the Avengers, have them jump into that time machine, go get prime Phil Jackson, bring them to the Lakers. It doesn't mean anything if the players don't show up. It doesn't. Like, when you only have 2 guys showing up, 3 guys showing up on a night, letting Lonnie Walker go was a mistake. I don't think so. I don't really think Lonnie impacts this team that much. Other than, like, you get an athletic guard that applies rim pressure, but it's a visual cam is better than Vandal. Right now, again, Vandal just got back. It's going to take him some time. He's got to get his feet wet. He's got to get his timing down. Lakers was not winning this game without 3 starters. And also, can we send Fudge and Maxwell Lewis to the G League? I mean, they have been playing in the G League a lot. We made a huge mistake by trading for Anthony Davis. He just can't stay healthy and be there when – what? What are you talking about? 1, we won an NBA championship. And 2, Anthony Davis isn't necessarily hurt. It's just load management. Like, they were going to rest him at some point. And every player has it. I mean, Giannis misses games. Like, Anthony Davis has missed 2 games this year. Right? Like, come on. Let's stop. If we won this game, no one would be saying anything. Like, come on. Let's chill. Let's not the pendulum swing. Let's not overreact. Let's not over. God. If anything, you should be upset because if anything, you should be thankful we traded for Anthony Davis because now you see how impactful Anthony Davis is. A's don't do anything but foul. Yeah, like I said, he just does another discipline. Our perimeter defense has been a problem. Yeah, when you don't have Anthony Davis, it makes it harder. It's unplayable for someone like Jokic. Yeah. Would you like to keep Cam over Max long term? I don't know. That's tough because, like, Max is still very good defensively. It's just his offensive game needs to come around, and he's 20 years old. Right? Like, you could rest. Like, you could just spend the next 3 years developing Max Christie, and he wouldn't have to see the court at all, and he'd still be younger than Cam Reddish. So I don't know. That's tough. Like, I like Cam a lot. Like, I I've been preaching for Cam Reddish for the last like 3 years, right? But like Max, like for right now, like today, yes, I would keep Cam over Max. Like if I had to trade one of them today, I'm trading Max. But like longevity wise, I would probably keep Max. Um, Lakers need to play man to man on defense. They can't when you don't have Anthony Davis. All the defense was on the bench with Cam and AD. Rui was 5-0, Christie 6-0. That's the loss. Yeah, like I said, Rui's not a spot up 3 in DA. Cam is untouchable. Way more important than Christie right now. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Cam is $2 million. You keep him just in case. Also, the problem is Cam Reddish might leave after this year. I don't think he will, but there's a real possibility. Somebody offers him a contract because we can't give him more than a vet. Like he would have to opt in, and then we could extend him. So he'd have to play another year on a vet minimum. If somebody offers him like $15 million now, does he take it? There's no justification. This is unacceptable. Man, I turned all my social media off. I'm not on it until Monday. I can't believe this. I feel it. From winning the Pelicans by 4-4 to being blown up by a team with one of the worst records. Yeah, again, I mean, you don't have Anthony Davis. Hurts a lot. It really does. It hurts a lot. Oh, shoot. My laptop's about that. Here, let me plug this in real quick. Hang tight a second. Okay. Rui could have got a lot of the other team players in foul trouble. Yeah, but again, you got to put him in position. Like to me, that's on the coach. Lakers should have never traded for Anthony Davis, too injury prone, inconsistent. Anyway, that's his normal free throws, like 60%. Let's see. Hayes and Wood are useless. They are not remotely reliable. They are as like your third. Well, Wood is a power forward for one, and then Hayes as like your third or fourth big man is fine. But when he's like your main guy, Andrew coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. What are your thoughts on the Warriors, Heat, and 76ers all possibly making blockbuster moves at the deadline? I think the Lakers have to make one to keep up. So I definitely could see the Heat and the Sixers making a big move. I don't think the Warriors will this year, at least. Because I don't think the Warriors, like even if they make by the time they're able to make a big move, they might be too far out. Right? Like they might be like they're better, they're almost better off tanking this year. Try to go get another big draft pick, and then try to make a big trade and make some big moves in the offseason. So this is just me. I think it's more likely the Warriors tank this year than it is they make a big trade. Because I don't think it makes any sense for the Warriors to make a big trade. Because literally by the time they're going to be able to make that big trade, and who knows how long Draymond Green is out for. I don't see the Warriors making a big move. The Heat and the Sixers, I definitely have concerns for. But I don't think the Heat or the Sixers trade for LaVine. So question is, does somebody else become available? Like, does Donovan Mitchell become available? If Donovan Mitchell becomes available, I can see the Heat and the Sixers both going after him. I don't think they'll go after LaVine because I don't know how, like, LaVine would help Miami more than they'd help the Sixers. But I think, like, Miami's going to wait for that right guy. Like, Donovan Mitchell, I think they'll put their chips to the table for. But LaVine, I think that they'll try to avoid that. Sixers, I don't think LaVine really helps them. I think him and Tyrese Maxey would be kind of redundant. But I do think if a deal becomes available that makes sense for them, they're definitely going to do it. So I do kind of feel like the Lakers definitely need to do something, but yeah, that's kind of why, like I mentioned it earlier, I I really think I really could see Chris Paul getting bought out, and if we're gonna trade D'Lo, I hope the Lakers go and get Chris Paul off of a buyout. Um, oh, and Andrew coming in help $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I honestly think Warriors get Levine, CP3, and Kaminga. See, I don't think Levine makes any sense for the Warriors. Like I don't like because I don't think that they need. I mean, they definitely need another scorer, but I think they need size more than anything, right? Like Steph Curry is amazing, like right, like I said last year the Warriors should have been pushing hard for Miles Turner. As soon as they found out Miles Turner was available, I thought the Warriors should have done whatever they could to go get Miles Turner because that would have fixed a lot of their size issues. He would have fit in their offense seamlessly. They were giving him a size and a shot blocker next to Andre Drum. Or why do I keep saying Andre Drum? Draymond Green, and I think Miles Turner would have been been an excellent defensive front court. Andrew Wiggins also has been just a disaster this year, which I don't think has helped either. Because if Andrew Wiggins was the guy that they were in the championship run, I think that they would have won more games. And then also, like I said, if you would have got Miles Turner, you would have Andrew Wiggins defensive, like you would have had one of the best defensive front courts in the league. I think they need more. I think they need like a Pascal Siakam just to have that switchable defensive front. Because I don't think that they're going to be able to get a center that makes sense. So I think I don't think Levine makes sense for them. I like they need another scorer, but I don't think Levine is the right scorer. Like I think they need to fix their size issue and their perimeter issue more than they need to fix like another scorer. But they need a lot of things. The Warriors do. The Warriors need like unless Andrew Wiggins turns it around. If Andrew Wiggins turns it around, then I don't think you'll need as much. Like, and I'm not saying he has to be like a superstar or anything like that, but if he can get back to just being like a 15 point a game guy and be like one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, you go get a guy like a Pascal Siakam and you have Andre Drummond. Now you got like this 3 switchable front court. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that would be the approach. But Andrew, true. I think Siakam and Gary Trent, another option. Yeah, something like that I think would make more sense for the Warriors just based on like their need. Again, I mean, like maybe they get Zach LaVine, but I just don't see the Warriors front office doing that because of his contract. And they're gonna have to figure out the Clay situation. And like they're not above spending and going over the cap if it is a good enough team. I just don't think that they would be a good enough team with LaVine. Like I don't know how much better LaVine makes them is the thing. Like the problem with LaVine and the reason there's no trade market other than like it's early. The reason there's no real trade market for LaVine is just because there's not many teams that need him. Like how many teams look at Zach LaVine and go, "Oh, that's the missing piece." We need like most of the top teams already have a athletic scoring guard, right? You know, like or they just have like great wings like Boston. But even Boston has White and Holiday that can go get buckets at any point, right? But like you look at Denver, they have Jamal Murray. You look at like the Timberwolves, they got Anthony Edwards, right? You look at Oklahoma City, they have SGA, right? You look at like Philly, they have Tyrese Maxey, right? You look at Milwaukee, they have Damian Lillard. Like everyone already has like their like all the top teams already have their guard play. Like, the only team that could use like LaVine would be like Miami and the Lakers, are the only two teams that I think make enough sense to go get Zach LaVine. Other than that, like I just don't see any team that's like, oh man, Zach LaVine, that's the guy we need, right? But I don't know. I could, like I said, I could be wrong. It's just my thoughts on it. Where were we? We were, and thank you, I appreciate that, Andrew. Let's see. We're a defensive team, but we sit out 2 of our top defenders. Yeah, but again, I mean, it's load man. Like if you were ever going to rest them, this is the team to do it. I don't think they need a lot of help. I think they need like two things. They need like, I think they just need another center, like a serviceable veteran center, and then I think they just need a consistent go-to scorer. Get DeMar and Drummond. You think Clay is done? I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much of it is like. There is a part of me that just feels like, yeah, this is who he is now. But then there's also a part of me that just thinks like, if he went to the right destination, he'd get back. Like I think if he was on the Lakers, I think he'd be fantastic. Like the more that I think about like Klay Thompson on the Lakers, I'm not saying that it would ever happen. Like, so don't be like, oh, if he ever was going to go somewhere else other than Golden State, the Lakers make a lot of sense just because of his father and stuff like that. But like, I think Klay Thompson, like, if any team was going to be able to get him back, I think it would be the Lakers just because of LeBron James. Like, Klay Thompson would probably get better looks than he's ever gotten in his career. And that's even playing alongside Kevin Durant and Steph Curry because LeBron just demands so much attention. And then his ability to just put it right on the money. I mean, literally right on the money as a shooter. Like every time. Like it's just Klay Thompson's never played with somebody like that. But anyway, just a fun little thought. Let's see. 3 days ago, seeing the Spurs losing streak chart, I said to myself, watch us be the team that they lose by them, and well, just our luck, yeah. $40 million per season. D'Lo's contract does not add up at all. Yeah, that's why you have to trade like D'Lo and Rui and a couple other pieces. They definitely need a third scorer. He never said he doesn't want to play for the Lakers. He's never once said. He has literally 3 interviews that he did last year. One with Taylor Rooks where he talked about how badly he wanted to do the Lakers. He's literally said the opposite. The only thing that he has said is that he wants to stay. Like his priority is to stay with the Bulls. He never said he didn't want to go to the Lakers. Like right, if the Bulls want to trade him, guess where he's probably going to want to go? The Lakers. But there's no inclination right now that the Bulls want to trade DeMar. What the Bulls want to do, and again, this is a report. You can look this stuff up. Like what the Bulls want to do is they want to trade LaVine ASAP and then give it like 10 games to see what the team looks like without DeMar and whatever other pieces they have, or without LaVine and see what other pieces they have, and then take it from there and then decide if they want to trade DeMar and Caruso and all that stuff. But like DeRozan's never said that, at least to my knowledge. If you can find something, send it to me because I can send you 5 things where he says, literally in the last like 6 months where he said that he's wanted to talk. He literally went on a campaign tour and talked more about the Lakers than he did the Chicago Bulls last year. Like he's just said the PC thing, which is like, I want to stay with the Bulls. Like my priorities with the Bulls. I'm not listening to the trade rumor. It comes with the territory. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Now, is he lying? No, I'm not saying that. He very well could want that. But also, like, what is he supposed to say? Nah, like, get me out of here. I'm going to Lakers. Like, the Bulls are bums. Like, no. He has a headache from all the trade dog, yeah. 2 of our 3 top defenders just so happen to be out. That hurt more than the other winnable games, yeah. Yep. We had 3 starters out, but still no reason to get blown out by the Spurs. That's my problem is that, like, I don't necessarily care that we lost. I care how we lost. That's my problem. Like, I'm disappointed how we lost. You want Chris Paul on a buyout? Absolutely. On a buyout? Give me Chris Paul's been very good for the Warriors this year. Give me, like, if we're getting Chris Paul for $2 million, especially if we're trading D'Lo, yeah, I'd take Chris Paul all day, including Sunday. Like, give me Chris Paul. Absolutely. Absolutely. Andrew, coming out, $2 super chat. He wants to be a Laker. It's his dream to win here. Yeah. I mean, he's, like I said, he's said on numerous occasions that he wants to be he thought he was going to be a Laker. He wanted to go to Lakers. Like, again, like I could show you, point you again, go look at the interviews that he did last season. He had like several interviews last season in which he did that, or he talked about that. All right, let's power through some more questions. I'm gonna get out of here, start setting up for tomorrow. A lot to talk about. You think a trade will happen or no? For the Lakers, yeah. I'm like, it's one of the few things I'm like very confident about. Sammy, CP3 would be amazing coming off the bench about 16, 20 minutes a night. Exactly. Exactly. Especially if we end up trading D'Lo. If we end up trading D'Lo, I think if you get LeBron to get in Chris Paul's ear, like, hey, dude, get bought out and come to Lakers. I'm hoping we go for and get DeRozan over Zach. I trust DeRozan more as a closer, and he's half the price. And we should go for Drummond or Vu. I am with you 100% on DeRozan. I personally like Drummond because he can play the bench role. Vu, I like Vu a lot. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be upset if the Lakers trade for Vu. I just don't know where he fits with this team. Because he's not going to want to come off the bench, and you're paying him like $18 million a year or whatever he's making. Anchor is important. Yes, agreed. Yep. We weren't guarding the perimeter without AD either. It's the scheme and rotation. Exactly. Clippers are now the 6th seed, and we are in the playing team the 7th seed. Yeah, still very early though. We'll be all right. Also, Cam Reddish is crucial for harassing perimeter players. Yeah, he's our best point of attack guy. When he and AD are on the court, the Lakers are hard to score on. Agreed. We need Zach, bro. Like I said, I wouldn't hate it. We most definitely need to make a trade. Lakers need a 3rd star. I'm right there with it. I'm ready for us to have a nice, steady team. Do whatever we have to get there. We have depth, most of it inconsistent, or just play D with no scoring and lack a true big. I'm right there with you. You think fatigue after the tournament? I mean, possibly, right? Like, I mean, there's evidence throughout the history of all sports that, like, teams that when they win a championship, they put in like that focus, and Lakers were like focused and determined in that. Just mental fatigue, just regular fatigue. There's always like that hangover step, but I don't know. The problem is, like, how much did they really put into the tournament compared to like an NBA championship, stuff like that? I don't know. But I mean, there could be. Zach will be our 3rd star. Will D'Lo will be on the Bulls? It's very likely. Continue to play that, get healthy card 24/7. Health ebbs and flows throughout the season. It's just a lackadaisical offense. That's a big problem, and it shows no matter who's in or out. Yes, our defense needs to be better. Hello, my first time here and agree with most of your points. Well, thank you, Terrence. But please tell me why Lakers front office refused to give LeBron the people he had success with, like Ty Lue, Kyrie, JaVale McGee. So the Ty Lue thing, they just didn't want Ty. Like, they didn't want to pay Ty Lue. They didn't want to bring Ty Lue. Like, that's the one thing you could talk about where it's like LeBron wanted Ty Lue and that was that. Like, and they just didn't do it. They went with Darvin Ham. That's because, one, with the Ty Lue situation, how long is LeBron going to still be a Laker? The Lakers went with Darvin Ham because they wanted a coach that was young enough to be their coach for the long haul, not just for like while LeBron is here. The problem is that once LeBron was done, Ty Lue was very likely going elsewhere. The only reason Ty Lue wanted to come to Lakers was because he wanted to coach LeBron again. So the problem is the longevity factor, right? Darvin Ham, they can keep Darvin. He's young enough to where he could be our coach for the next like 20 years, right? And you have that foundation. He's young enough to relate to players, and he was a player himself and all that stuff. So that's the Ty Lue reason. Kyrie, the Lakers did everything they could to go get Kyrie. Everything. I mean, they literally offered everything that they had. It was Joe Tsai, who was the owner of the Nets, said, I mean, there was an entire interview about it, or not interview, but article about it, where Joe Tsai said, I'm not trading Kyrie where he wants to go. He was going to trade Kyrie anywhere but the Lakers. He was willing to take lesser returns to trade Kyrie anywhere but the Lakers. Joe Tsai hated Kyrie. Kyrie was not coming to Lakers, whatever. JaVale McGee had opportunities to go to Lakers, and he chose not to. He didn't want to go to Lakers. JaVale McGee was a JaVale McGee decision. That wasn't a Laker decision. He had several opportunities to come back to Lakers, and he said no. So JaVale McGee, JaVale McGee, that was his decision. Ty Lue, they went with Ham because it was a more longevity decision. And then Kyrie Irving, they did everything they could, everything that they could. They literally offered everything, every tradable asset that they had for Kyrie, and they said no. So, but again, Terrence, appreciate you. Thank you. Boston is really good. Yes, agreed. Let's see. Let's see what else. I keep jinxing it because I tell you exactly how the game's gonna go, and it happens. Like that's just understanding the game of basketball. That's not me jinxing it. Um, Lakers lost on purpose by an accident. Like what? Um, the fact of getting Caruso would be huge. How complimentary can be with Reeves coming off the bench, solid offense and great defense, and vice versa. Yeah, I am with it. Wood can't even set a pick properly. Oh, Tyler, I'm in pain. I feel you, Snorlax. I feel you. This team should not be losing bad teams. I mean, the Lakers have beaten pretty much every bad team or below 500 team other than this one, and they just beat them once. And they were missing 3 stars and Anthony Davis. Darvin Ham is definitely not the main problem. He's part of the problem, but he's not the main problem. Bumpy played zone the whole game. Yeah, because what else was he supposed to do? He can't play man to man. You don't have Anthony Davis, and we were missing our other best perimeter defenders. Like zone was the only option to go. They are above us now, which is terrible. Like, what other defensive set were they supposed to play? I don't understand people that say trade insert player that is playing bad for insert good player. The team want the players more when they're playing bad. Minnesota, it's just how people perceive things. This guy's trash, so let's trade him for this guy who's not. Right? Like, if the guy is trash, then why would any team want him? It's just fan logic. People do it for every single thing. You sick? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice and stuff. I appreciate that. Thank you, though. Thank you. Seriously. No, Mark Jackson. There's a reason Mark Jackson will never coach again in this league. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. There's a reason the Warriors fired him. Why every time we win, we keep everyone, but when we lose, people say get rid of everybody because it's just, again, it's fan logic. It's just overreacting. I talk about it all the time. The pendulum swing. Lakers win. They're the best team in the league. No one's going to beat us. We're the NBA champions. We're coming for it. Give us the gold. And then we lose. Trade everyone. They're all trash. Trade AD. LeBron's washed up. Everything. It's just how it goes. Get used to it. Believe me, I've had to get used to it. When I started doing this YouTube thing, it used to drive me crazy, like genuinely. Like you can go back and watch like old live streams. Like I would go on like crazy rants on everybody, like, and I just realized like, okay, this is just how it is. Like I just had to learn to accept it because it drives me crazy because I just don't understand it. But it's not for me to understand. It's just how most people are. It's the consensus. Yeah, we're missing a lot of them. We need a real third option for games like this when AD is out. Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, I'm going to answer like a handful of more questions that I'm going to get out of here. Let's see. What about firing Ham? Firing Ham does nothing if the players don't show up. You, like I said, I mentioned earlier, you go get prime Phil Jackson. It means nothing if guys don't play the way that they're supposed to play. Lakers need to sacrifice some depth, competent players, because right now quality matters more than quantity. Exactly. I am right there with you. We need a primary on-ball defensive guard. Caruso sort of leaving, and maybe get a solid rebounder in the body for that Drummond. I'm right there with you. Picking up what you're putting down because we love Drummond over here. Drummond's fine. Right? A lot of people like crucify Drummond for like his last stint, but like people forget he was good for us. He averaged a double-double, like with no experience with this team, nothing, being on the buyout market like towards the end of the season, gave us a double-double, played really well alongside Anthony Davis. He just wanted a bunch of money, and the Lakers didn't want to pay him. Right? He still wanted max money. Dude, Andre Drummond has an interview at his camp. I even posted it on As It Stands Lakers, because I'm streaming on both my Laker channels. As it stands, Lakers, I have a YouTube short where I show that interview, and he literally talked about why, he should, he should have stayed with the Lakers. Like he should have never left the Lakers. But his ego and stuff was a big thing, and he said he had to humble himself. And now he's one of the best backup bigs in the league, arguably the best. Imagine Curry seeing a sinking ship and wants a trade or something. As for a buyout, that's not happening in my dreams. How much better would the Lakers be with Curry? Nobody. If the Lakers could trade for Steph Curry, which even if Steph Curry became available, the Lakers have no chance trading for Steph Curry because every team in the league would be trying to do that, and we just don't have the assets. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say that the Lakers traded for Steph Curry. Nobody is beating us. I don't care. If they're healthy, if AD, LeBron, and Steph Curry are healthy, and as long as we have Jared Vanderbilt and Cam Reddish, you're not beating the Lakers. You're not. Like, the Lakers, you'll win a game in the playoffs, stuff like that, but you're not beating the Lakers. Nobody's beating the Lakers if they had Steph Curry. I ain't going to lie, even though not all the blame should be on Darvin. If we had a coach like Ty Lue, we would be way better. Look, Ty Lue's not without his faults either. He can be pretty stubborn, pretty stuck in his ways at times. He can be a little too passive at times, which can be a problem. But, would we be better with Ty? Maybe. Again, it comes down to player effort, right? Like, Ty Lue, as good of a coach as he is, what has he done without LeBron? Right? Like, people act like he's won all these championships and he's this, prestigious coach and stuff. I don't know. It's easy to say, oh, if we had this coach, maybe we'd be better. But again, at what point do we blame the players? So let's say we fire Darvin Ham right now and nothing changes. Who's the next scapegoat? Who do we blame next? Right? Okay, and then we trade D'Lo and whatever, and guys still don't show. At some point, the players play the games. The players are the ones that are out there executing the game plans, executing the schemes. It's just, that's the thing. Caruso is back up on a bad team. Didn't the Lakers win a championship with Alex Caruso? What? And he was a huge part of that. So I just did prove you wrong. Lakers literally won a championship with Alex Caruso as one of their primary rotation guys. How do we lose? Not having AD and all of our rotation guys. Alex Vando and Caruso are great complementary defense pieces that literally would fit and help any contender in the league. Exactly, facts, 100%. All right, let me scroll up this page. All right, I'm going to answer these ones right here, and then I'm out of here. LaVine and DeMar and Caruso to this team would be huge. I am with you 100%. I'm not going to lie. You might be on to something, Tyler. Chris Paul for a minimum, trade for DeMar and Drummond don't sound bad. I'm telling you, because you're going to end up trading D'Lo. Again, I'm going to put all this in a video, so look forward to those videos at some point. So it'll be more flushed out. But for everyone that was here early and got the little scoop. But yeah, no, seriously, because you're going to, whatever trade we make, we're going to end up trading D'Lo, which means we're going to need another playmaker. The Warriors are an absolute dumpster fire, sinking ship, and they're probably not going to be able to turn it around. So if they buy out Chris Paul would be perfect for the Lakers. You bring him off the bench. He gets 15, 20 minutes a game. In that, basically all the minutes that LeBron doesn't play, LeBron James is going to trust him. You can trust him down the stretch of games. He's a guy that high IQ. You always have a high IQ playmaker on the court. Chris Paul would be huge for the Lakers if you were to trade D'Lo and all that stuff. So I'm telling you, you go get Chris Paul, Andre Drummond, DeMar DeRozan, go get either Alex Caruso or Dorian Finney-Smith. Boom, nobody's beating the Lakers. Lakers in 4. We'll be kind. We'll say 5. Lakers in 5. But no, seriously, that's really how I feel. All right, last 2 questions. Is having him as our coach for the next 20 years a good thing, though? I don't know. What does he look like without LeBron James? Because you got to remember, Darvin Ham defers and just lets LeBron run a lot of the show. And as long as you have LeBron, there's always that pressure of you have to defer to LeBron, right? I would love to see Darvin Ham on a team with a bunch of young guys. And Darvin Ham, 2 straight years in a row, has coached a team that has been like, that you would think would be terrible defensively into a top defense. So he's definitely a great defensive coach. Like, so if you get a good offensive, like, assistant, then yeah, I'm fine with him being the head coach. I think he's good with the players. I think he's good with the media, all that stuff, right? We should have won if we had AD. If we don't have AD, we got to be locked in. Yeah, that's the problem. Is like when you don't have AD, it's really hard. This is why Drummond would have been a perfect fit. I agree with you. If that's the case, we should get Trae Young, the Steph Curry clone. Trae Young. Trae Young is nowhere close to Steph Curry. Like, look, I like Trae Young, but Trae Young is way more turnover prone, undersized. Like, at least Curry will like try defensively at times. And Trae Young, that dude will completely shoot you out of a game. Like, he's don't get me wrong, when he's on, he's one of the best. Like, he is Steph Curry clone. When he's on, like, he can single-handedly win you a game. But when he's not, like, I have seen that guy just jack up shots like there's no, like, he's playing 1-on-5 and just completely shoot Atlanta out of games, like, regularly. Like, I just think he would be more frustrating than blessing. But anyway, I'm going to skate on out of here. Blucka. I got to say hi to Blucka real quick. What's up, buddy? Who did we blame for tonight? I know I blame Tyler. That's a good blame. I'll take the blame. I'll take the L. But anyway, thank you all so very much. Everyone that hung out with me, everyone that had these conversations, look forward to all the videos. Hit that like button. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button, please. I greatly do appreciate it. You have no idea how much it helps creators like myself. Hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer to 18K. I'm like 120 subs away from 18K. So please hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button, all that stuff. Thank you, everyone that gave me super chat. Seriously, I really do appreciate it. It means a ton to me. It really does help me out. And you guys are awesome. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.